Welcome back to Fulfillment Therapy. Today we have special guest Dr. Harry Cohen, and he is going to talk to us about pet peeves, which I'm very excited about. Dr. Harry Cohen has a PhD in psychology. He's an executive coach, restaurateur, and author of Be the Sun, Not the Salt. This is just a straightforward yet profound guide for being your best self, uplifting others, and behaving in a manner that draws others toward you and makes you happier and more effective. I must say, I really enjoyed this. I'm actually going to show this really quickly. Got it in the mail a little bit late, but I am really enjoying it. And I love the pictures. I love everything about it. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So in 60 seconds, I grew up the only son of a middle-class family, wanted to be a doctor, went to Cornell, pre-med, got through everything except organic chemistry, designed to weed out people like me. Dropped out of school, went and worked in a mental health facility, came back, going to be a different kind of doctor, got a BA in psychology from Cornell, then went to Michigan to get a social work degree, and then went on to get a PhD in clinical psychology, family systems therapy, was in private practice for 10 or 15 years, and then shifted my interests to executive coaching, and then did a lot of work in corporations, then public speaking, and then opened a restaurant right when the financial crisis hit in 2008. The restaurant is still growing strong. And then did a TED Talk and ended the TED Talk with leave people with an afterglow, not an aftertaste. Be the sun, not the salt. And then wrote this little short booklet to remind us to be our best selves more often. And that's my story.
Oh, I love it. And anything that speaks to being your best self, I really appreciate. And somehow I missed your TED Talk, so I'm going to go back and check that out. But did you love doing it?
No, I was nervous as hell. And the deal on a TED Talk is you don't get a do-over. And there's a million ways I would do it differently. So my life's work is to try and say more by saying less and saying it better. And this metaphor of be the sun, not the salt, is the distillation of my life's work, so that I wrote 30 one-page reminder chapters to nudge myself and anyone else. Like literally today, every day I read the day of the month based on the chapter, release your pet peeves. So I wrote a little note to 50 people. This isn't a teaching. This is how I intend to practice that lesson today. How could I make sense of it this night, this notion of being our best selves? Look, I know that being irritated, for whatever reason, is a pile of debris. It's just garbage. Our irritations are our teacher, and we can't cop an attitude that, yeah, but I'm justified. And that's what pet peeves are. This morning, I had to think about, okay, so how am I going to apply this? I'd forgotten that I'm doing this podcast with you. Building this house across the lake. And the builder said, he's not going to listen to this podcast, so I can say it. There was a miscommunication. That's a phrase that for me means somebody's not taking responsibility. If they're saying, I didn't tell somebody. And I did a good job of, easy, big fella, Harry, let it go. Don't say anything. I just sat there and I listened. It's easy for me to have said, the problem is, and corrected him and tell him that he was not being accurate. I just let it go. The point of bringing up this peeve is that I have to continually remind myself of every piece of lesson in here, which is, oh, is it really worth it? Do you really need to be so irritated? No. And I know this. Look, we've lived decades, and every decade we live, we go, oh, man, I can't believe I used to think that or do that. And then we're wiser now. I'd like to get a little wiser with every single day, including get off it. Anything that makes me irritated is, hey, Harry, remember you wrote that little book? Like we were supposed to start exactly 2:30 and you showed up right on time. And I was watching myself get a little bit like, oh, I wonder if she's going to be on time, because that's one of my little peeves. And it's such a great teaching. Harry, get off it. So what? And I have to continue. I have a dog, and you have to continually remind my dog what she supposedly already knows. I'm no different. I'll
Yeah,
stop talking.
for that for sure. I was just playing I really pickleball and I'm playing and I invited a whole bunch of people to the park that's not supposed to have people in the afternoon. Somebody came and took 6 of the courts and took them for 4 hours. I was ready to just fight my battle. And then somebody wisely said something like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, it's not, but it's
Yeah.
not.
And the beauty of that is not only is it not big of a deal, you and I both know it was wrong and disrespectful and inconsiderate and selfish and all the things that they shouldn't do, blah, 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 blah. But our equanimity, our state can exist simultaneously with someone else doing something wrong. And I want to be the person who goes, that's wrong that they did that. Okay, what am I going to do about it? I don't know. Nothing about it now. Maybe speak to them, whatever, but keep my cool.
Oh, I just love that. So I want to know how that applies to this book, especially because you had a lot of great things in there, but it could take us all day if we wanted
I know.
things. So what made you connect pet peeves to the idea of pouring salt on your own roots? Like I never really heard that before. And tell us what that means.
So remember the whole keeping it really simple. If we're a plant, you want fresh air and water and proper nutrients. We're a living creature. We need to be properly taken care of with all kinds of appropriate things: water, exercise, love, et cetera, et cetera. The metaphor salt on the roots is a toxin that makes the plant shrivel and die, be depleted. So you want to avoid salting other people's roots and your own roots. You can salt your own roots with negative self-talk. Harry, I can't believe you said that. Harry, I can't believe you did that. You're such a knuckle. That's just saying nasty things. That's salting one's own roots. Pet peeves, it's a very sophisticated inner game that we play. We justify our irritations and our umbrage and our worse, anger. And it's just a fancy way of copying an attitude and thinking we're better than somebody else. That's the problem. It looks like we're being good or disciplined. We're not. It's garbage. The idea of a pet peeve, and people say the expression a lot, I've got a bone to pick with you. Stop. Don't pick a bone. Just talk about the problem. This is a pet peeve of mine, which is code for I don't want to let go of it. And I want everybody, myself included, to let go of stupid stuff that we hold on to. And I'm not any different. I'm going to be 70 next year, so you'd think I'd know this by now. So when I find myself getting irritated or mildly annoyed, it's really, you're still getting pissed about that, huh? You haven't learned, because I want to be a wise sage. Now, a wise sage, by definition, they don't get pissed and irritated about stuff. And you're nodding going, yeah, they don't. So let's be that person. And we already are. The beauty of this stuff is when we are at our best, when you and I are really at our own best, we're pretty amazing. We're not perfect. We're pretty good. So let's do that more. This isn't where you have to be a different person. Be the Kendra that's wonderful. The wonderful Kendra? The Kendra that's chill, that goes to the pickleball court and says, bummer. Oh, smile and move on. That practice, this is one of those great phrases, neurons that fire together, wire together. The more we do stuff, the more habitual it comes. Mental habitual. Easy, big fella, let it go. You know what I mean? Those little mantras that we can say to ourselves, there but for the grace of God go I. Oh, forgive them. They know not what they do. It's their first time at pickleball. That's what the pet peeves of salting your own roots is like. Come on, man, we got to take better care of ourselves.
And I remember that part actually from your book as well. Let's do that more. It's a whole thing to do, but being your best self and just do that more.
Do you know that we copyrighted that phrase because it captures the whole essence of the entire kit and caboodle? Do more of that. What do you mean? When you're good, that's it. You don't have to learn anything else. You just did it. You were kind and sweet and thoughtful and patient. Do that some more. Do more of what you already do. We're done. Were you a good listener? Yeah, that's it. Were you grateful? Yeah, do that. Were you thoughtful? Yeah. Every virtue that we express, mic drop. That's it. You don't need to take another course. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even have to buy this book. You, you could just, you know what that guy said on that podcast? Do more of what we already do when we're doing good. That's it. I'm going to do that. Boom, shakalaka. Could you imagine that do more of that is as frequent as I'm doing my best to be the sun?
And I think you might need to work on your marketing. Don't even buy my book.
Well, I don't know how to do this. You'll have to help me. Would someone buy one and then please give it away? How's that? And if you,
No, I think they would appreciate your honesty. I think it's wonderful. But then back to this pet peeve part, I love stories. I love examples. Can you share a personal example of how holding on to a pet peeve might have affected you or a relationship?
well, I'm married 44. You don't get credit for equity. You don't get credit for how many years you've been married. You get credit for how was I this morning, not how was I yesterday. How am I today? And the little tiny things that my wife does or doesn't do that bother me to irritate me. No, there's nothing that she infuriates. No, but like where she'll put stuff in the fridge, okay, leaving stuff on the counter. I have learned, embarrassing, Harry, shut up. Don't say a word. Literally. And I used to just say the tiniest things that would be unnecessary. There's a great phrase, before words you leave your lips, will they be truthful, necessary, and kind? If they make it through those three gates, they can leave your lips. A lot of things are truthful, but they're not necessary, or they might not be kind. And I have learned on pet peeves, little things that quote unquote bother me that my wife does or doesn't do. Harry, now you know. Don't just move on, dude. This is embarrassing. It took me 44 years to get to do the dishes that I didn't do. Not make us think about it, just do them. And not announce. I notice I did the dishes. Right? Now, I say this to say I am in love with learning how to be a better human at my ripe old age, which means there's more. So how does this affect my relationships? With everybody, always. Things that used to irritate me about my mother-in-law, I find so sweet and endearing now. If she's 91 and she is one beautiful human being, and I would focus on the things that she would do that would irritate me earlier in my life with her. And how stupid was that? Stupid. And I don't mind saying that I was dumb. I'm smarter, wiser. I wish I'd learned it earlier. And that's just, I could go on and on. I'm talking about friends, people who come late, people don't return phone calls, all the things that are like, anything that gets me a little huffy. Harry, get off your high horse. It makes my relationships with those people better. Cut them some slack. Give them grace. Do you know the practice, the expression, giving someone grace? Who wins on that one? Everybody.
I love those three things that you talked about. Is it truthful? Is it necessary? And is it kind? They're just very distinct, simple ways that we can check. And it talks about this in your book as well, doesn't it?
If you're going to say something, chapter 2 is be helpful. Is what you're going to say going to be helpful? Think about that. And how it lands is really important. Might be true, might be necessary. Is it kind? I didn't say those three things in my book, but if you put it through the filter is, will this be helpful? Will the other person feel like sun on the leaves, that this person was uplifting and made me feel energized after the conversation? Excellent, you should say it. But if what you're going to say makes the person feel crappy, you probably shouldn't say it.
I love getting advice or wisdom from people that have gone through things that maybe I haven't either. I've thought about these things before, but you don't hear a lot about people talking about character or like how to live a higher law that will bring us more joy and peace. And that's just such a simple, beautiful way to say it.
Thank you, for Kendra. Let us all aspire to living from that higher plane, whatever that might look like for all of us, whatever religion, cultural norms or what have you. There's some level of moral high ground that we want to aspire to be better. This little book and the message is for people who do want to be better versions of themselves. If you think you're already wonderful as is, this is not for you.
Maybe you should talk to your spouse a little bit more about what you're happy. So another question I have for you is, in your experience, what do you think is the most common pet peeve spouses or parents struggle to let go of?
Oh, everyone has their own category, and it usually comes down to what they feel very strongly correct about, and they want other people to do the thing that they're correct. It doesn't matter what it is. And so for some people, it's cleanliness, it's neatness, it's proper, whatever that might mean. And everybody struggles because it seems like it's righteous and good. And that's the problem. People who get on their high horse of righteousness, including myself, shouldn't people start meetings on time? Shouldn't people follow through on their commitments? Shouldn't people never be late without letting us know? They're endless of how people should behave. And so what are the favorites? It's pick your poison. And that's what they are. They're poisonous because they look like they have some moral rectitude attached.
Yeah, and it's into these daily in my family, right? Like you present them.
Hundreds. And so you have to be gutsy and honest with yourself to say, oh my, this is really about me, isn't it? The root of this is we think it's the other.
All about ownership. I feel like everything goes back to that, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. So how does the be the sun philosophy help maybe parents or families deal with those everyday irritations that we can't let go of?
Very simply, if you look at life through this lens, then you can look at your opportunity to be less irritated and irritable as your goal. Simply, you want to be uplifting and kind and bring out the best in others, including yourself. And you want to be as little as possible depleting. So with that mindset, your irritations are by definition salt on roots. When you're irritated, no one likes to be around you, including you. Keeping it simple, let your irritations be the teacher that is your tapping you on the shoulder. Oh, that's all I need to know. Be graceful with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. This simple mindset of be the sun, not the salt, is all you need. Wait a minute. Was I the sun in that circumstance? No, I was actually salty. Okay. You know the next thing to do. That's it. You don't have to do any gyrations. You just say, nah, I was a bit salty. Good. That once you answer that, you know the right thing to do is just be not salty in the next sentence or apologize. Doesn't matter. You don't have to, I wonder, did I do it right?
That is such a simple thing that we can do. So am I being the salt? How am I responding to the people in my sphere of influence? Love that.
You got it. And Kendra, because you get it, I love that you get it. So let's help the world use this lens through which to look at the world and then do our best.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I fully support that. I guess my last question for you, just very simply, and you gave us so many beautiful, simple things. Is there any final thing that you would say to people, especially like parents? We get feisty, frustrated, salty all the time, spouses. What can we do? One last thing that you would leave with us for us to lean in to be our best selves.
You have two choices. You can go either way, and both are fantastic, and make it small. You can be a smidgen more uplifting and kind by just saying, good morning, sweetie. Is there anything I can do for you today? That's on the uplifting side. And on the less salt side, any utterance of negativity, bite your tongue. It doesn't matter. You call it victory if you didn't say the snarky thought that went through your head. I want to make it, this is my final thought, make it so easy. You are victorious in either direction. You could double if you do both, but you can just not say the snarky thing, way to go. Or you can do a sweet thing to a perfect stranger or a loved one. Have a great day, sweetie. Love you.
That's beautiful. I just want to say a few of those again, because I think they're fantastic. Let's do more of that. Be truthful, be kind.
That's just truthful, necessary, and kind.
Say that, necessary and kind. And then be the sun, not the salt. Bite your tongue and just be uplifting. Those are so beautiful, so simple things that we can start today, probably this very moment, and practice those. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing with us your book, what you're talking about. Be the sun, not the salt. We can find that on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Or bethesunnotthesalt.com. There's lots of free videos and stuff. And Kendra, let me give you some love. I do this a lot. Anytime someone asks for me to be on a podcast, putting under the arm, you're going to say yes. You were fantastic. What I mean by that is a delightful interviewer, prepared, on time, smiling, totally into what we're talking about, genuinely making me feel good in this 30 minutes of being together. And that's not small.
Oh, I very much appreciate that. I don't think I've ever had anyone say that before, so I appreciate you.
It's not that hard for me to say that because it's true. I'm not saying that to be nice. And this is our opportunity.
I think you're very much becoming that wise sage you hope to be. So thank you for that. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Kendra, see you soon.
Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, chances are someone else would too. Would you take 30 seconds to share this with a friend who's looking for greater family fulfillment? And while you're sharing, tell me what you think about the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It refuels me when I hear this podcast is helping you, no matter what your house or your hair looks like. I'll meet you back here every Monday and Thursday morning for more episodes. Until then.